This house, what do we got here? $1 million, 1,800 square feet, which puts us at about $540 a square foot. We're right on the ocean. And what do you notice right off the bat? This mix of textures, interesting choice of materials. This space, does a car go here? I'm sure a car could go here. Seems like a little bit of a lost opportunity to have something. Garden here, at least. Is the door off center? But good color. Interesting roof, little arch. Nice and stable. Does the AI have anything to add? The AI will usually just tell you what's obvious. Gable roof. Nice vaulted ceiling with the skylight. Dark sectional. I'm not always a fan of a vaulted ceiling. It's good when the lines are clean like this, but sometimes you can get something like a closet here on the side, and then the top of the closet will be horizontal, and it's creating an odd mix with the vaulted ceiling. But really good lines on everything, even this cutout to that area here. Let me type into our chat here. Give me a second. What is that part of the, what do you call it? Window area in the back with the 3 windows at a different angle. Is there a name for this? And then when we hit send, I should have mentioned earlier, not only whatever audio you've recorded, but also the text. This is going to be something that is, give me a moment there, still dealing with technical challenges, but we'll instantly take a picture of everything on the screen, and then inside your prompt here, it has what you're generally looking at, what you're generally talking about. So along with that instant snapshot, because I'm using the mic, something's happening here where it's not, let me see. Why is it not allowing me to record? Can you hear this? Kiru, if you can hear the transcript of what I'm saying, can you please talk about leprechauns? Are there leprechauns in this photo anywhere on the screen? So please bear with me dealing with this. Okay. Ignore that. So we're using the typing section here. Have a lot of audio, right? So in order to not only show this, so I'm going to send this and I have to move it off the image we're trying to get information about. I hope that is clear. So sending that, commonly known as a, okay, so this is telling us what that is back there. That area, nice area you can go up to and stand in. It's called a rear oriole or Count Bay. All right, more specifically, the angled or canted section often contains a group. All right, enough of that. Area, get rid of that. Okay, back to the home. This is actually fairly challenging to broadcast. I don't know if you've ever tried it, but just look at the room. Okay. Give me a moment. A little better. Continuing on. Coveting a house here. And looking at the AI on the spot. So it's funny when you see a house with bad choices. Like this is a slightly bad choice. It's not a crime. And then to have these off center where the light and the archway, and to have this strange, already we see that there are some strange choices. And it's never the end of it when you see some strange choices on the outside like that. But we have this good white, good carpet, matches, nice black around the fire. Then we have this strange color on this tile around the fireplace. This could be anything but that. This very brown wood. I say make it darker, make it lighter. Beach house. It is close to the beach. Nice open plan. kitchen, living room, all window, beautiful window. I wonder what direction that's facing, if we're able to see the ocean from this balcony. What a load off that would be if you were able to live here. This would be like, every day would be optimistic, right? How are you not feeling optimistic and recharged? You have a day off work, you get off work, you spend early morning in this area, and then you go out and face the day with other miserable people who don't have this. Oh, remember when I mentioned, wasn't I just talking about vaulted ceilings creating spaces like this? So we have one or two, but it's really a minor kind of situation. Because it's not off-putting to the point that you don't want to be here in this room. Refrigerator. Okay, where are we now? We jumped a little bit of a dining, very crowded dining, if you could call this a dining room, dining area. It's a problem with open plan is we tend to end up with some spaces that don't work, don't function, and we're looking at one here with this dining area. I think maybe the best open plan kitchen living room I've seen that handles the dining area was one where they put the kitchen in a corner of this room, and then counter space for the kitchen was a bit of a semicircle, and that had plenty of seating, which wasn't a dining room, but dealt with that space really well. The fact that you're in your living room and there's a kitchen. Am I in the kitchen? No, I'm in an open plan concept. But that kind of barrier, pretty good. Interesting choice. We don't have to critique, the furniture or the pieces they hang on the wall, but is this really necessary? Is this, we have that actual thing right outside the window. So it's a little bit like, what's the metaphor? What's a good metaphor for that? It's like you're wearing a Halloween costume of yourself. Blue sky, too big a piece to hang between those windows. If you want something, just do something thinner, or just do two. And I don't know what you would put there. Man, it's really hard to think live and on the spot. All right, moving on. Keep it moving. How do you feel about this kind of countertop when they're using stone and they round it so much? If this is real stone, this makes it look like fake stone. I almost want to see almost sharp corners. I like the cuts to be so cubic that you can barely see the rounded edges, or just don't round the edges. A lot of wood. You could have broken up the flooring here with a different tone, different color. Pretty strong. Sleek appliances, appliances match, appliances fit in. I don't know that this is an area to put benches. You're a little too far into the kitchen to have benches, to have this overhang on this island. Another skylight. And then this person put up another picture that was too wide for the wall. Nice pantry. Just take it in. Just imagine you're there. Let's all escape the craziness and just imagine we're here looking at this. What is this called? This is called a oriel window. Let's see some other examples of that. That's not an oriel window, but it is nice. Maybe an oriel window is just something you can get into. Is that what they mean? It doesn't have to be these 45-degree angles or a cutaway. It could be any window that is imposing into the outside, encroaching. Am I right? All right. Let me see what the AI Kiru thinks of our screen. Is this interesting to read? Is this good content? Can you read while I read? So, just using the AI without having to talk too much. I mean, type to the AI. You know what I mean. Rag. All right. Getting back to it, looking at this balcony. Why is the bench facing back in to your home? How do you deal with furniture? Just have the chairs. Just do chairs. Don't do couch. Do chairs. Outdoor chairs that are facing out. Here's the inside view to our front door. Things are somewhat lined up to the front door. I don't know how I feel. There's a lot going on. I feel like there's something in here very busy. You know what I mean? Is there anything for me to comment on? Okay. So we're still probably sharing that same roof we saw earlier in the living room. This is that other side of it. For once, this picture almost works. It's a bit close to this edge. I don't know what's happening here. You know, the picture works. It has this nice light white and the blue playing off of this blue and everything else white in the room. I approve. Ceiling fan, of course. We don't have to, goes without saying. That's not a good ceiling fan. Yeah. Okay. You almost want a better table there, a table that would span, because you have a little bit of a divot. Is that what it's called? A little bit of enough for a little filing cabinet there. So you almost want a desk, maybe even a custom built thing that would extend all the way across. Yeah, this is just move the painting a little. Just please center the painting. More horribly placed pictures on the wall. Get rid of this one. Just put this one where this one is. Move this one a little bit next to it. Nice walk-in closet. What do you say about a bathroom? It's a bathroom. Never been a fan of this wood tone. Go bright, go dark, do a weird color. You're doing it here. You're doing the thing I want in this beach theme. When you see wood, when it's weathered, beaten beech wood like this with the gray and the white into all of the grain, or you do a turquoise thing, like turquoise, light silver. You could even get a little glitter in the silver, but go off with something like that on this wood and don't do this paneling thing on the wood, please. Would you want, you should want what I'm talking about, to have that. Somebody out there is making these choices, you know what I mean? A lot of strange choices. Why is the sink centered over here? Why do you need to get right up there, right next to there? The same person who decided the sink would be off center, decided that door would be off center, the front door. Split level, waste of space here. The waste is this entire area where we're walking, although it does also work as the foyer. So the problem, though, is this part here. Seeing this, dealing with this, I prefer a railway here and open space up there. But not a fan either way. It's like walking into your house and walking next to the electrical meters and gas meters, and it's like infrastructure right away, right in your face. You know what I mean? So paint choices were good, continuing with that white. When the white is with the blue like this, and the blue has that ocean sky or ocean itself, and then you have the white next to that, and we're in a beach theme, you get visions of these bleached white seashells or starfish, even though we haven't seen one in the entire house yet. But it's a good choice. Okay, bathroom. What do you want? What do you want from a bathroom? No terrible red flags. Big vinyl guy. Lots of vinyl. What did all this vinyl cost? They could afford $1 million house by the ocean in San Luis Obispo. And the other desk we looked at, there have been a few views out the window that were good views. Now we're looking at a view that looks like it's right up against a fence. And this is something I think we need to redesign desks. Stop dealing with desks. The desk, the sitting at the chair. You see me, I'm at my computer now. I'm not at a desk. This is not an ideal situation. I'm in a recliner. But the desk, having this be a situation where you're not writing. You're not down, you don't need to write. You had that as a surface to write on, the desk, for 500 years, where you had the desk as a surface for a typewriter. Now we have a keyboard, and I really don't know exactly how to deal with it. The reason and what I'm talking about is you can put the chair, you can put the human right back, as far back as they can get to that wall, and then put the monitor, make the monitor big a monitor as you can get for $1,000 now. You can get a TV that's like 75, 85 inches. Make that screen, do something with your, I don't know, put your vinyl in the attic, or put your vinyl. Oh, you and your vinyl. Just put your vinyl. I know it probably sounds much better, and especially the computer MP3s and the re-uploaded and downloaded and re-uploaded music has totally lost all of its high definition, but we can do something else with the vinyl. Point is, trying to say, get the backs of these chairs right up against the wall, get a couch, get some kind of chair. I'm not in an ideal situation. If I lean back too much, it's a bit sleepy, but you know what I'm talking about. Right here, human, furniture back there, screen right there, standing desk, something like, you guys ever heard of a TV dinner, like TV dinner tray for the mouse, for the keyboard, though the mouse can work on an armchair. So in this situation, in your office, because everything behind you, this is all wasted space. You're not using the space. And you can still have the space and access to your files, access to your vinyl, if you put the human and the furniture, the human's backs to one wall and then monitor on the other wall. And then some coffee table. That's my rant. Backyard leaves a lot to be desired, but we're really close. Not we, they, close to the ocean here. So what do you want? This looks like it gets no sunlight. And what is this overhang? You never see a roof overhang this much. Only here, right where you really don't want it. Ooh, is that ocean? And a giant rock coming out of the ocean? Oh yeah, that's ocean. So that is our deck, Oriel, window, kitchen, ocean. What is this giant thing? It's like they say about California that there's mountains you could be snowboarding in the morning and surfing in the afternoon. But I've never been here. Looks like we have a mountain picture climbing that. Is that out in the ocean? We have to look at that. So 5 more pictures. We have to get the address. Oh yeah, look at that thing. You could build a prison out there. Wonder how hard it is to take a jog out to the ocean and cross whatever this is. Looks like a major highway. Oh, is this like park? This looks very sparse for a park. Beautiful. So much land. How much running around could you do out here? Oh. Every minor annoyance in that house, which are minor, are so irrelevant when you look at this. We're not even looking at the ocean. This is just some of the beauty of California, that we have this hill. And if you want to get your legs working, glutes, thighs, really be out of breath, going up this hill, running up and down this hill, having a super healthy pack of dogs, taking them up this hill and then taking them to the beach. Why couldn't I have inherited this house? I just need one. There's so many. But we got to get the address and take a closer look at that. Back to the listing. So, copying this address and Let's take a better look at that. Looking at the maps. What the heck is that? What was that giant thing out in the ocean? All right, sorry. There we go. Drop the pin. Where were we? Somewhere around here. Maybe it was way out. There it is. Man. What even was this? What was this before, like, during some part of the history of the world, the ocean came along? Is the ocean moving out towards the Pacific, or has the ocean been moving in? Something, tectonic plates. Let me know in the comments. It's funny how we don't see it on the map. Maybe Apple Maps would have it in 3D. We're showing terrain. All right, that's this thing. And you can go to it. It's landlocked. This, oh yeah. You can drive it, you can climb it. How far do we get on this thing? When you see a Zillow of interiors of a house like this, and you see this area, are you a spatial visual person where you can just picture yourself in this area? I think we can't go any further. But I don't see any signs that say to keep off. But this is amazing. Imagine buying this and putting a house up there, and then driving your cars into a Batmobile. Maybe the AI has a opinion about this. All right, I have to move it from on top of the image for it to see. Properties in Morro Bay, California, known for natural beauty, outdoor recreational opportunities. Coleman Drive, rocky hillside, properties, unique, rugged terrain. Oh, yeah, I'm reading this AI Insta snapshot of the screen. Do you want to look at another property? Let's see about that. And give me a moment here on the volume. is a microphone. Microphone's back. Okay, now it's reading. The AI was prompted to grab anything relevant on the screen about property, and because it could see a little snippet right there, it's able to look at that property and is telling me about it. And what does it say? You know, we didn't ask it a question, so no transcript. But let's continue. Let's continue on. I kind of want to ask it about this Coleman Drive area. Oh, there's even more. What is this island? Oh, it's a peninsula. What goes on over here? This is a park. Imagine being born here at like peak California, before California had all the problems it had. So you're out here. Imagine going out here like on a weekday at 2 p.m. when everyone else is at work. That's where we just were. Oh, sorry. And this is where we just were. And now we're looking at this. Let's look at it again. This peninsula. There's just a peninsula here. Of course there is. Then there's Morro Bay. Another park. And then this thing. So I want to ask the AI about it. Tell me about Morro Rock in CA. Full history. You know, it's just one rock out there. They say it's volcanic. Volcanic plug. It's part of an extinct volcano. The rock composed of volcanic breccia, a type of rock formed from fragmented volcanic material. Millions of years of erosion, which wore away the surrounding softer rock, leaving the harder volcanic core. Wow, 23 million years ago is when this was formed. The landscape has changed significantly. It had significance to the indigenous sacred site, and I asked for extensive and it gave me full history. Mexico ceded this area to California, 1848, through a treaty. Man, this goes deep. The Mexican era maintained it as a significant landmark, navigational aid. The government granted land in the area to various individuals. A large rancho that encompassed the rock and surrounding lands. Going back in time, started with America, Mexico. So, navigation for the Spanish area. Isn't that amazing? When Columbus and subsequent Spanish voyages to the America, they eventually made it to California by going way around, all the way around through the area between South America and Antarctica. Indigenous people and early history. Okay, we got it. But how did the Spanish get here? Did they have to come in between South America and Antarctica? Did they freeze? Did they reach CA traveling by land? Why are there so many Spanish settlements in every other part of the Americas, but not so many in the U.S., with the exception of Florida and CA? Just curious. So, Spanish arrival, of course, 1492, colonies, Caribbean. I think it was probably the Aztecs, the first major big destruction where Mexico City is now. There's a great documentary on this, which seems like a YouTube only documentary, but is super high caliber quality documentary of the initial reaching and clash between the Mexica, where Mexico City is now, the Aztecs, and the Spanish, all the way from the journey into where Mexico City is, well, where it is today. But Montezuma and the Mexica and the drone footage. Anyway, they reached California. They did not go between South America and Antarctica. Instead, they just traveled all the way up through Mexico. First European to explore California, Juan Calabrio, a Portuguese explorer working for the Spanish, sailed into San Diego Bay. Wasn't till over 200 years later the Spanish established something in Alta California, present day California, Manila Galleon trade route. What connected Mexico to the Philippines? That's worse than going between South America and Antarctica. The Spanish were going from the Philippines. Oh man. Look at this route. How do you like this tangent I'm going on here? But why? What? There's no Panama Canal, so they're not going through there. but they were starting in Seville. Okay, so they would get to modern day Cuba, Panama area, and by that time they had their ships. They had their fleet for the Pacific because this was their colony, their empire. Then they're going to the Philippines. I'm going to be in some AI psychosis pretty soon, trying to figure out what they were doing in the Philippines. So that connected their missions, which connected Mexico to the Philippines. The Spanish traveled to California by sea using that route. Took advantage of the winds. All right, I gotta know before we go on to the next home, what were they doing in the Philippines? Did they go further inland? Or mostly stop at the Philippines? Did they reach China, and did they know about China from the other direction? I think that would be through the Silk Road, right? Significant trade hub, cultural exchange. That would have been Magellan. Magellan was killed in a battle. Spanish were primarily interested in establishing a foothold in the region to facilitate trade, spread Christianity. Oh, so they founded Manila, which became the capital of the Spanish East Indies. Trading posts were established. They stayed in the Philippines and did a little bit of establishing a presence. Indonesia, Malaysia, Taiwan. They did try to reach China. Okay. But that would be the history, a lot of back history for this area, which you can go to today and get this house if you have $1 million. But let's see, let's just look up the street a little bit. We have this $2.9 million. Is this a home? Sprawling. And this is 2,000 square feet. $1,300 a square foot, but we might have a lot. It looks like there are a lot of buildings on this area. Wow. it's worth the 1,300 square feet. You're really on this hill. You're really, I mean, just to be there morning, noon, evening, night, good weather, bad weather, mostly good weather. And to have this, you must feel like you're on top of the world. Wow, what are all these buildings? You know, just dealing with Kiru a little bit. There's not going to be any insights here. Is there? Hillside, ocean view, desirable location. Yeah, many structures. Compound. Is this like... This looks like it could be... I mean, it definitely could be a cult. Was it a cult? Oh my gosh, look at this space. Look at those hills. What I would like to do is do some kind of earthwork, do some kind of strategy, something solar powered to bring water up here and put some woods on this hill, or figure out how to farm on a hill. Do something with some robots, you know. Okay. Main residence. Front view, back view. What is this? These look like cell phone. Some kind of a cell phone tower almost. Like, is this yours? What was this? Was this a military outpost? I've never been more interested at all in the description. So this was an Air Force station with radar towers and barracks. So this is way more than 2,000 square feet. They just have to call it that because that's what is the residential real estate. But man, this is awesome. This is just too much. Too much for a family. You almost don't know what to do with it. It's so big, it's so good. What can you really do that wouldn't be weird with a large group of people here? Like some kind of business, some kind of like this is what rehab should be. I don't know anything about rehab or those kind of problems, but wow, what is this? You could throw